Hi, I'm Stefan, the BMW DIY guy, and I'm back here at BMW Seattle today because I want to show you a truly special car. You know, when Frank Stevenson designed the E53 X5 on a piece of paper on like a 2-hour flight, I didn't like the idea. BMW doesn't make SUVs, they don't make utility vehicles, they make M cars, they make high-performance sedans, they make gorgeous cars like the E24 or 6 Series that I still love so much. But an SUV? Well, if you know me at all, you know I've got an E53 X5 that I absolutely love, and it serves me and my family incredibly well. And this is the ultimate expression of the latest design and the king of all of the X5s. I want to show you the X5M Competition. The X5 is such a distinct car, and the X5M Competition really is the ultimate expression of that. They started about 114. You start adding in some of the packages like this car with the executive package and the M Competition package. It's going to price out at about 123. But there are a number of features that you can see just by looking at the car that comes standard with the competition. One of the things I want to show here in the front is actually the headlights. These are the adaptive LED with laser assist. Now, you can even tell that these are the laser headlights. Beyond the badging on the side are the blue highlight accents inside the headlights themselves. So when you flip to the high beams, you're going to get the laser assist. The X5M also has this really aggressive front grille, large kidney grills in black and badging in black, along as you can see the front-facing camera nestled right between the kidney grills, as you really look at what is a gorgeous and very distinctive design across the front. All right, let's take a look at the heart of this beautiful car. This is the S63 V8 motor. This is very similar to what you see in the M5C, but the comparisons aren't necessarily fair. Yeah, we're looking at similar performance coming off the power plant, but you're really looking at a different kind of car. So this is 617 horsepower and 553 foot-pounds of torque, 0 to 60 in a stunning 3.7 seconds in a car of this size. Top speed of 177 miles an hour, and you're going to be looking at tied into the M Sport exhaust at the rear that I'll show you when we get there. But this really is the heart of the car. What I also love is when you look is you can see the whole different approach. You can see all of the extra suspension setup that you have to help stiffen the front end and make this a very responsive car. All right, let's take a look at the suspension that's going to keep you on the road and give you a well-handling car. And you actually have to start in the engine bay. When you look at all of the bracing across the strut towers, you can see it here and here specifically. It's some of the most obvious things you can see without getting underneath the car. This adds a lot of stiffness and rigidity to the frame. You're going to get that tuned suspension, extra chassis bracing, and all the mounting points across the front of the engine. When you look underneath, you're going to look at double wishbone suspension, that we can actually see some of the suspension components if you look between the wheel there, which is pretty amazing. But also, you can even look at the tires themselves. With the M5 Competition, you're going to get 21s in the front and 22s in the back. This is going to help keep you on the road to be able to apply the amount of power that this car can put down, but also give you a very controlled experience. What's really important with all the different performance modes in a car like this is that it can be comfortable when you're driving around town, rough conditions, but then also you've got track level performance as you change it and really put it into what this car can truly do. One of the last major performance components is going to be your wheels and tires. You got to be able to stay on the road. And the X5 Competition is well set up here. You're going to be looking at staggered 21-inch in the front and 22-inch in the rear. You're looking at 395mm front brakes, which are just massive, and 380mm rears on huge calipers. You're looking at a 6-piston caliper in the front, a single piston caliper in the rear, and your choice of several different wheel styles depending on what look you want to go with. All right, let's finish out the review by looking here at the tail. So you have your M Sport exhaust that's standard on the M Competitions, and as you can see, it's the quad exhaust style setup with a very aggressive tail and rear bumper cover. Now, one of the things I actually like, and that's really a differentiator, where if I was going to buy an M Competition, I probably would buy the X5, and that is something really as simple as this. I love the ability to have all the performance and all the storage and the roof rack and everything you can do. I've taken my X5 out to many different places, and my ability to have a high performance vehicle where I can haul around all of my gear and my family and be good to go in a car that's so much fun to drive, this is something I would absolutely do. What a beautiful car. Let's take a look at the interior next. Let's review through the interior, as there's so many choices here as we look at this. One of the things I love most is the extra attention that BMW gives to the M cars in the interior, especially with the new badging on the seats. I think that's a fantastic feature. So this is the black merino leather, but there's so many choices for your interior. You can do Silverstone, secure orange, gray, brown, black, ivory. You can match your Alcantara headliners, and there's so many choices. It has the Bowers & Wilkins sound system and the new 12.3-inch display with iDrive 7. I'll walk through some of the basic features there when I get an opportunity next, but forgive any strobing that you might see. That's just simply the camera. You will not see that with your naked eye. You've got the M5 Competition badging here on your center console with your cover, and all of your controls here, along with the M mode, the start, and all of your options for your iDrive. Looking through, I really love the design of this display, and if you notice the difference with the example of some of the other systems lately, with this X5, your center console is kind of integrated into your main display. It actually fits in much better, in my opinion. I actually like this design. It's really sophisticated. Your screen doesn't look like it's kind of standing up and away. This actually is an integrated part of the full display. So you've got the 12.3 in the center, but then you've got the 12.3 here as well. Now the car's off right now, and I'll show some additional functionality. I'll fire the car up in just a moment, but you've got all of the options of the things that you can possibly do with all of your displays. As I mentioned before, forgive a little bit of strobing. That is just actually what the camera sees. You don't see that on the screen at all. So the 12.3-inch infotainment system, as they call it, is really impressive, and is such a natural growth over time with the new iDrive 7. Now there are so many functions here that it's really impossible to show them all to you, but what I want to do is just walk through a few. So as you can see, you can have your media options where you have all of the different technology integrated in, including Spotify and Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, you name it. You can look back and look at your communications where it can be tied into your phone, not only being able to tie in through the car and all of its communications, but your phone, your contacts, and everything to do so you can communicate safely while on the road. But then also the standard navigation, which looks really, really good. You can see all of the different options that you have here, and it continues to improve. The navigation is one of the things I'm truly most impressed with as you take a look at these cars. So one of the other things I love is your ability to customize what you do. And this is where you're really going to deep dive into this car to make it exactly what you want it to be. So when you're looking at it, you can set up all your different driving information on how your sport displays are set up to show how your car is performing. But also, since this is the M Competition, you can actually get in and configure your M1 and M2 buttons. You can configure your heads-up display, which is a little difficult to show on camera. But then also you can configure your instrument panel as well. So let's go over and take a look at that. Now, forgive the orange stripe right down the middle. I'm sure someone's going to ask what the orange stripe is. Again, this is a brand new car, so the protective plastic is still on. So as we look at our controls, you have your ability to completely modify your layout, how you want to have this set up, especially as you go through your modes. You can have your road mode, you can have your track mode, and it's going to change the information that it's going to show on this display. So many options here as you go through this, and I really love how integrated this screen is into the car. All your standard vehicle status. Now, of course, if you ask, hey, there's a yellow required service, it's just reminding that it's still in the break-in period. Okay, so as you go through this, including your ability to change lights, it actually has different modes. You can set your car up to auto cool, all of the options that really make this the peak of technology, but really convenient and easy to drive. All right, let's take this beautiful car out. Just want to give you a little bit of a sense of what it's like to drive it, give you a little bit of the scenery of Seattle. But all in all, just what it's like to drive this incredible car. The handling, the performance. And I'm just going to say it, of course, a car performing like this the best performance you're going to get at the track, the best performance you're going to get in a place that I can't do today. So I'm not going to be able to show you that kind of driving. But what we really can do is get a sense of what it's like to drive it and the differences in handling, performance, and show you a little bit of Seattle. Now this is onto I-90 here in Seattle, and I purposely want to take this big sweeping corner. This is a really fun entrance onto the freeway and a big car. But it's a car that handles incredibly well for the amount of performance with tires like this and suspension like this, and this is driving in a comfortable mode. This is not an M mode right now, but it handles these long sweepers really easily. We'll take you out over I-90 and show you Lake Washington. We're going to go through the Mount Baker Tunnel here in Seattle. This car handles incredibly well. It doesn't feel like a big car. You know, you have that adjustment time whenever you get into a new vehicle, and you understand the differences of what it feels like. But I don't have really any of that change, any of that acquisition time on how to drive it. It stays in its lane, handles these rough roads really, really well. As you drive a car like this to activities, you drive it around, you're going to get good gas mileage by comparison, and then you can get it into beautiful places like here in Seattle. Drive over I-90 in Lake Washington. It's a little foggy today, so I'm unable to show you the mountain, which is really too bad. But the power this car can put down, it's just instantaneous. This is 617 horsepower, and I'm a big fan of power like that, not just to tear the tires off, which this car will do and can do at any opportunity, but as part of driving. This gives you the ability to get out of tough spaces. If you have to accelerate quickly into traffic, if there's a need to actually apply that kind of power, you're going to be able to do so in a car like this. To be controversial, I love the M5, but I think if I had my choice, this is the car I'd buy. I like my two-seater, I like my sports coupes. If I'm out driving by myself, the smaller cars like the M2Cs or the F82 or the coming G82, absolutely, for my ability to zip around in a high-performance car just by myself most of the time. But a car like this, I really think if I was given the choice between the M5C, even with the new LCI, and this X5MC, this is the car I'd buy. The amount of performance that this car has, the handling is so precise. It just feels immaculate. This gives me the ability to take my family around, do everything I need to do, plus haul gear. So if I'm gonna put a wakeboard on the roof, or I'm gonna put a paddleboard or a kayak, I can do that on the roof with a roof rack. And sure, you can put a roof rack on an M5, but I really think I would do it here. This is what I mean about practical power. We're coming down the on-ramp. Let's accelerate a little bit. Yeah, really impressive. All right guys, back here at the dealership and very reluctantly having to turn the car back in. What an incredible car and what an amazing drive. And really, any drive is too short. It really is. I mean, what you want to do is get the full experience of driving this in the city and the mountains, taking it to the track. So any test drive is going to be too short. And I wish I could have taken you out for longer, just like I would love to drive the car for longer. Thank you so much for BMW Seattle for giving me this incredible opportunity to get hands-on with this gorgeous car, and I'll see you on my next video.